Hey pals, it's Fernand here, and welcome back to another episode of Versus. So today we got the brand new 5D Mark IV, and we also got the old 5D Mark III. We're gonna go see what new improvements does the Mark IV bring to the table alongside the Mark III. Alright, so some new things on the Mark IV. We have a 30.4 megapixel sensor compared to the 22.3 that we have on the Mark III. We also have this dual pixel autofocus that comes from a 1DX Mark II. We didn't see that on the 5D Mark III. What this does is just helps you so much when tracking your subjects, whether it's in live view or right through the viewfinder. Makes everything easier, from tracking fast subjects to slow subjects. We have touchscreen on the Mark IV. We didn't have that on the Mark III. And with the dual pixel, you can click on the screen when you're in live view mode to track your subject, whether it's auto tracking or just to move it around and find a new focus point. We have 61 autofocus points, with 41 of them being cross types. Some more new things we don't have on the Mark III. We have Wi-Fi, we have GPS, we have a USB 3.0. We also have a built-in intervalometer. We have 7 frames per second compared to the 6 frames on the Mark III. A new thing we have on the Mark IV is this thing called dual raw pixel. What it does is it takes 2 separate raw images and puts them together in the camera. Creates a bigger file, but gives you some extra space in post to edit your images, whether it's some bokeh adjustments, micro adjustments, or getting rid of some ghosting in the back of the image. When the 5D Mark II came out, it was hailed for being such a great innovator for DSLR video. Then the Mark III came out. Now we're here with the Mark IV, and we finally have 4K video up to 30 frames. We also have 1080p at 60 frames. That's pretty impressive. And then you can go down to 720 for 120 frames. It's important to note though that when you're shooting in 4K, whether it's 30 frames or 24 frames, you crop in up to 1.7 of your image. So a 24 millimeter focal length turns into a 48, and a 50 turns into an 87. So wide angles are almost impossible unless you're using a special lens like the 11 to 24, which is very expensive. Also, 1 minute of 4K video is about 3.45 gigabytes. So a 64 gigabyte card can be filled with about an hour of 4K footage. So space runs out very quickly, and the files are motion JPEG. When you take your card and put it into your computer, you have to convert the 4K files into something that's readable. At 1080p, no matter what frame rate it is, you get to use the full sensor. So 24 is 24, 50 is 50, and 85 is an 85. And even though it's 1080p, the 1080p of the Mark IV is significantly better than the Mark III. The Mark III was known for having really soft video. Well, the Mark IV kind of gets rid of that. And you go from 720 at 60 from the 5D Mark III to 1080 at 60 on the Mark IV. And if you really wanted to, you can go down to 720 and record 120 frames. It's important to note that when this camera was made, it's geared more to photographers. It's geared more to people for doing photography at a wedding, a live event, some kind of concert, portraits. It's geared toward other 5D shooters, not videographers, unfortunately. With that being said, this camera is a big improvement over the Mark III. It blows it out of the water, it outshines it. For a photography camera, this is the go-to. I met some people that have literally put down their D800s for the Mark IV. So if you're interested in renting one of these out from us here at the LensPal, come check us out at our website, www.lenspal.com. Our rental for the Mark IV starts at $153 for the 4-day rental, and it only goes up from there. But trust me, once you get a taste of it, you'll be renting out a bit longer than that.